Andre the Giant finally revealed the 5 wrestlers he absolutely couldn't stand. And honestly, the names will shock you. From Hulk Hogan to Randy Savage, some of these are the last people you'd expect. So let's dive in and see who else made it to the list. 1. Hulk Hogan. It all started in the early 1980s when Hogan and Andre were actually good friends. Hogan looked up to Andre like a big brother, and Andre respected Hogan's hard work and charisma. They even teamed up several times, and the crowd absolutely loved seeing the two powerhouses together. But as Hogan's fame exploded, thanks to his Hulkamania era, things began to change. Hogan became the face of WWE, headlining shows, doing TV appearances, and selling out arenas everywhere. Meanwhile, Andre, who had been the company's unstoppable attraction for years, started feeling overshadowed. The tension between them slowly built, but it reached its breaking point in 1987. On screen, it was presented as Andre turning against his longtime friend out of jealousy. During an episode of Piper's Pit, Andre famously ripped off Hogan's gold chain and challenged him to a match for the WWE Championship. That single moment sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. Fans couldn't believe the gentle giant had turned villain. Their rivalry came to a head at WrestleMania 30, held in front of over 93,000 fans at the Pontiac Silverdome. The event was historic not just for the crowd size, but for what happened in the ring. Hogan managed to do the unthinkable. He body-slammed Andre and pinned him clean. It was one of the most iconic moments in wrestling history, and it cemented Hogan's legacy as the ultimate hero. But behind the scenes, things weren't as simple. Andre wasn't in great health at the time, dealing with severe pain from his condition, acromegaly. Still, he respected Hogan enough to let him have that big moment, even though he reportedly didn't like Hogan's ego and constant self-promotion. Their relationship after that was complicated. They worked together a few more times, including rematches in 1988, but the friendship never really recovered. 2. Big John Studd. It all began when Big John Studd, managed by the Doctor of Style, Bobby Heenan, started claiming that Andre wasn't the only giant in wrestling anymore. Studd wanted to prove he was stronger and tougher than Andre, and to do that, he introduced something called the $15,000 Body Slam Challenge. The rules were simple. Anyone who could body slam Big John Studd would win the money, but of course, nobody could do it until Andre stepped in. Andre took Studd's challenge personally. For years, he had been billed as the eighth wonder of the world, the biggest and most unstoppable force in wrestling. So when Studd started calling himself a true giant and mocking Andre, it lit a fire in him. Their feud became deeply personal. Andre wasn't fighting for money, he was fighting for respect. The two giants collided many times in different cities, drawing huge crowds who were eager to see if either man could lift the other off the mat. But the most famous battle came at the very first WrestleMania in 1985. The stage couldn't have been bigger. The match was officially billed as the $15,000 Body Slam Challenge. If Andre could slam Studd, he would win the bag of cash. If he couldn't, he would be forced to retire. In that iconic match, Andre finally got his revenge. After a tense, slow-paced power struggle, he lifted Big John Studd high into the air and slammed him to the mat, sending the crowd into a frenzy. Then, in a moment that fans still remember, Andre started throwing the money into the audience before Bobby Heenan ran off with the bag. It was a symbolic moment. Andre didn't care about the money. He just wanted to prove that he was still the giant of wrestling. Their rivalry didn't end there, though. Studd continued to feud with Andre and other babyfaces, always under Heenan's guidance, while Andre remained the company's beloved attraction. But their WrestleMania match sealed their legacy. Two true giants, one unforgettable moment, and a feud that defined an era of wrestling. 3. Killer Khan. Basically, in 1981, when Killer Khan, a fierce Mongolian heel known for his violent style and savage persona, entered the WWF, he quickly made a name for himself as one of the most dangerous wrestlers in the company. During one of his matches against Andre, the feud took a shocking turn. Khan delivered a vicious knee drop to Andre's ankle, breaking it in storyline terms. The way the moment was presented made it look disturbingly real. Andre screamed in pain, and the injury was sold so convincingly that fans were stunned. In reality, Andre had to take time off to recover from a legitimate ankle injury he suffered outside the ring. So the storyline was a clever way to write him out of action. But the genius of it was how they turned his absence into a grudge that would define both men's careers. When Andre returned months later, the calm, friendly giant was gone. What came back was an angry, vengeful monster. Andre was out for blood. He went after Killer Khan with a fury fans had never seen before. Their rematches were pure chaos. No fancy wrestling moves, just raw, violent brawling. The two faced off in a series of brutal encounters, including steel cage matches and Texas death matches, where Andre unleashed his full strength on Khan. Fans were completely invested in seeing Andre get revenge, and every punch, chop, and headbutt felt like payback for what Khan had done. Their feud reached its peak in 1981 and continued into early 1982, with Andre finally defeating Khan in decisive fashion. The storyline made both men look larger than life. Khan as a sadistic villain, and Andre as an unstoppable force of justice. Behind the scenes, there was also real mutual respect. Killer Khan later spoke about how Andre helped elevate his career by agreeing to such a violent feud. For Andre, it was one of the few storylines that allowed him to show a darker, more emotional side. 4. King Kong Bundy. King Kong Bundy entered the WWF in the mid-1980s and quickly became one of the most feared heels in the company. Managed by Bobby Heenan, Bundy was often paired with Big John Studd, forming a near-unstoppable duo of giants. Their mission? To take down André the Giant once and for all. Together, Studd and Bundy targeted André in brutal two-on-one assaults, often leaving the giant bloodied or laid out in the ring. These attacks didn't just build heat, they made fans furious and desperate to see André get his revenge. One of the most infamous moments came in 1985, on an episode of Saturday Night's Main Event. During a tag match, Bundy and Studd ganged up on Andre after the bell, repeatedly slamming him and delivering multiple avalanche splashes in the corner. It was one of the most vicious attacks ever aired on WWF television. The visual of Andre helplessly lying on the mat while Heenan's men mocked him burned into fans' memories and made Bundy one of the most hated villains in wrestling. This feud wasn't just physical, it was emotional. Andre was portrayed as the lonely hero, constantly facing the odds, while Bundy and Studd were the arrogant bullies hiding behind Heenan's schemes. Every time Andre fought back, the fans roared louder, making each comeback feel like a huge victory. Their rivalry continued through 1986, often spilling into tag matches where Andre would team with other babyfaces to take on Bundy, Studd, and Heenan's entire faction. Eventually, Andre's feud with Bundy helped lead to Bundy's own rise to main event status, as he later challenged Hulk Hogan in a steel cage at WrestleMania 2. But it was his war with Andre that truly established Bundy as a top-level villain. 5. Randy Savage. Though the feud wasn't as long-running as Andre's feuds with Hulk Hogan or Big John Studd, it was still a wild and fascinating chapter in both men's careers, especially during the late 1980s when Andre had turned heel under Bobby the Brain Heenan's management. By that time, Andre had shocked fans by turning his back on the crowd and joining forces with Heenan. This darker, more ruthless version of Andre wasn't the gentle giant fans once loved. He was now cold, intimidating, and ready to destroy anyone who stood in his way. And one of those unlucky opponents happened to be the Macho Man himself. Their rivalry began in the late 1980s when Savage was riding high as one of WWF's most popular stars. After winning the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 4, Savage was everywhere, charismatic, flashy, and always at the center of attention. That spotlight, of course, made him a prime target for Andre and Heenan, who were determined to crush anyone connected to Hulk Hogan or the Mega Powers Alliance. Savage and Andre clashed multiple times between 1988 and 1989, mostly during the build-up and fallout of the Mega Powers storyline. Andre would often use his massive size to intimidate Savage, while Macho Man, ever the fiery competitor, fought back with speed and cunning. Their matches were built around contrast, Andre's slow crushing power versus Savage's quick strikes and high-flying offense. One memorable encounter came when Savage, alongside Hulk Hogan, faced André and Ted DiBiase as part of the Mega Powers versus Mega Bucks storyline. The tension in those matches was electric. André used his presence to completely dominate, while Savage played the underdog, trying everything to bring the Giant down. Every time André caught Savage in his grip, it felt like he could end the match in seconds. But Savage's resilience and quick thinking kept fans on the edge of their seats. Though André and Savage never had a long personal feud like others on this list, their clashes carried weight because they represented two eras colliding: the old-school Giant versus the fast-paced superstar of the modern WWF. And that wraps up today's video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll catch you soon with another one.